while also serving as the Assistant Hall Director for Housing and Residence Life here at the Great Old Dominion University. While serving in this position, I thrive on having a positive leadership presence and providing my staff with the necessary resources in order to be successful. I believe that I fit the qualifications for this position because I currently hold an undergraduate degree in business management from Dillard University in New Orleans, Louisiana. And those skills will help the organization strategize ways to raise funds in order to provide additional professional development opportunities within the graduate and professional realm. In closing, I hope that you consider me to be the treasurer for the 2014-2015 Graduate Student Organization Executive Board. Thank you.
I will open the floor to questions from anyone who are listening.
Listen, you said with the assistant hall director, is that your graduate assistantship, or is that a position that you hold?
That is undergraduate. Yes, I will be working in the first year communities located in the Quad, so stopping in there.
What are some things you can do to further GSO?
I think working closely with my president will be first and foremost, and also the executive board as a whole. I think GSO definitely offers a lot of professional development opportunities, but a lot of the graduate students either don't know about them or just don't take the extra course to attend these programs. So being that, one, I'm in the higher education program, I work with other graduate students in my role as assistant hall director. I look forward to kind of networking and using those venues to kind of bring about opportunities for GSO as well.
So in terms of fundraising, we get our funds currently from the Student Government Association. It's treasurer you're running for, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was
Yeah.
right. So what are some things we could do to, fill the coffers a little bit more for GSO? Our budget's been slim, as we know.
I think using the resources here at ODU, so I know like Raising Cane's, they have different opportunities for you to do some fundraising with them. They just opened up a tea shop here right on the corner, and I actually spoke with them last week about what fundraising opportunities they have. So they are looking to kind of open up that venue, and I think GSO will be a good venue to kind of start that up for them. We're just using Monarch Way, the different small businesses around the Hampton Roads community to kind of venture for some funding opportunities. I think working with them ultimately would be a good way not only to get our money out there, but to also raise funds as well.
Can you speak on your current experience with working with Keisha Launch and doing treasury, I guess, duties for HISA?
So currently I am working with the HISA organization to plan their leading ceremony. I just experienced kind of going through that process to ask for funds. That process was very new for me because I have never done it before. So in the future, I think being very timely with that, maybe asking for the money months in advance, and also building a stronger connection with Keisha so that when I'm sending her emails or having conversations with her, she can put a face with my name. I think that's important.
Can you speak to some of the leadership roles that you've had or reviews or organization?
Well, in undergrad, I was part of Phi Gamma Business Fraternity and also the National Association of Black Accountants, and I served on the executive board for both of those organizations. NABA was more so conference, and they did a lot of work with accounting. Being a business management major, I was still able to find some opportunities. I still attended the conferences, and when I did go to the conferences, I made sure that though I was in business, accounting major, just having that networking experience was very beneficial for me. And Phi Gamma it was an up and coming organization, so just kind of networking with past alumni and kind of bridging the gap from the old and women and kind of seeing how we could promote that organization better.
Can you tell me some things you know about the current GSO?
I know that GSO strives on professional development drive and her passion for helping out undergraduate students to kind of excel. And then most recently, being with Lolita, it just seemed like their heart and their passion to see all graduates succeed, because not everyone comes into graduate school kind of having that network or knowing what professional development looks like. And so them just kind of stepping out their way to mentor first years like myself.
Thank you, Lucia. Next, we will have Erica for secretary.
Is there any opportunities?
About here? Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Erica Gardina, and I'm interested in the position of secretary. I'm a first-year graduate student. I'm studying secondary education. I want to teach social studies. I've been an active member in the graduate student organization since the beginning of the semester. Being a graduate student, there's a lot of new responsibilities. I've learned that I've got different academic, personal, and professional responsibilities that I didn't have as an undergraduate. When I tried to find an organization that would help me work through that and better understand how to handle those responsibilities, I found that the GSO was really helpful there. Spending time with everyone here, attending the meetings and the events, it's provided me with a lot of new experiences, and I think I've gained a lot of insights into what I can do on campus now as a graduate student. I believe as the GSO secretary, I'll be able to do more for the organization and to help to continue to push for the goals and the initiatives that we're trying to execute here. I also believe that the success of any organization relies on the strength of its secretary, and to that end, I think that I possess the skills that would be necessary to help us succeed. I'm very organized, and very timely, and I'm reliable. Let's see. So from here, I would like to say that I'm dedicated to promoting the goals of the graduate student organization and to committing myself to a leadership position here, working within the executive board to try and help the GSO grow. Thank you.
And the floor is open for questions.
Erica, do you have an assistantship?
I'm applying for 2 different ones right now. I just interviewed for one with the intercultural relations, and I'm also interviewing for one next week with the Civic Scholars Program. So I've been involved with both, and I'm just wondering which one might be interested in working with me.
How did you hear about the graduate student organization? Did you come to an event where they were, or how did you get involved?
I got an email. I guess I had joined through a listserv through the graduate student newsletter. And I got an email asking for help volunteering with, it was kind of an open house, wasn't it?
It was the spring.
GSO.
Yeah, so volunteering there. And even though I was only there for probably an hour or 2, I learned a lot about the organization. I thought that it would be good to get involved and to do more with them.
You say we're organized, reliable, and another something.
Timely.
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 Thank you. Give me some examples of that that shows that in something.
Sure, absolutely. As an undergraduate, I was president of the College Democrats, and in a lot of ways that was kind of a one-woman show. To run that club, I had to be in charge of organizing rooms, times, dates, events, speakers, attending all kinds of events in the community, keeping track of who all of the people were in terms of leaders of these organizations, and being able to balance all of the rules of being a student organization here on campus. In addition to that, just in my everyday life, I try to be extremely organized. in order to get through all of my classes, I utilize a lot of efficiency tools. I really like to use calendars, digital checklists, and even on a more old-fashioned level, I'm really into binders. I love organizational tools.
Erica, how long since you started at OU have you been involved in GSO?
Since January is when I got involved in GSO, and I started graduate school last August.
Okay, so pretty much almost your whole time.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Next, we will move on. There's one person currently here for public relations. You're also running for a VP. So Michelle.
Hello, everyone. I didn't think I was going to be able to make it because I'm participating in the International Global Certificate, but it's actually right next door, so I came over straight from there. So my presentation is a little informal. I will just wing it. But just some background information. I am a first-year student in the lifespan and digital communication major, and it's pretty new here at Old Dominion University. I am a graduate assistant in the Housing and Residence Life Department, specifically for academic initiative and research. I applied for this position. I received an email about the GSO, and from there I did a little research on it, on the website, and looked at these missions. I do have, in my undergrad, I have a lot of experience with radio stations, customer service, public relations, the communication realm of interacting with people in higher education. I was also a advising assistant as an undergrad in the College of Science and Technology, so I worked a lot with students, advising them through their academic journey in undergrad. I also have experience in the workforce field. I am a non-traditional student, so I'm a little older than the traditional student, so I have background in leading as a human resource specialist, customer service manager, and things of that nature. So in the area of public relations, I feel that I have experience with customer service, and that is the main part of public relations, having a welcoming presence and being able to communicate with everyone. The vice president position, I do have leadership skills outside of the education, higher education field, also within the higher education field. I feel that those experiences will make me a great candidate.
So what prompted you to run for two different positions? Because they have different, very different functions. I mean, obviously on the executive board, sometimes we all pitch in and help each other out in different areas, but what was your thought?
Well, public relations is my ultimate goal after graduate school, but I do have a lot of experience in leadership roles. So that's the reason why I chose both. I don't really have a specific background versus public relations and vice president. It's more of a integral background. That's fine.
So are you looking to do both or one or the other?
One or the other.
Okay.
And you said you had some leadership experiences, what?
I was a human resource manager for 2 farm fresh locations in Norfolk and Chesapeake. I managed managers and employees doing OSHA compliances, hiring organizations. And in the advising position as an undergrad, I ended up
President, what would you see the major function?
Well, particularly me, I'm a non-traditional student, and I wasn't aware of GSO until I got here. Maybe because I'm not on campus as much, or I don't have all the time to go out and look for certain organizations. I would like to participate in getting those students like myself who don't come to campus or not on campus as much, and reach out to those students who are similar to me.
So PR is one of the big issues with GSO because obviously, like you all know, most people don't know about GSO. And one of the biggest things is the PR piece of it. Getting out, emails don't work, going to classes don't work, putting PowerPoints up on ICT, printing posters, putting signs, those things don't work. We've done it like for the past 2 to 3 years, and we still have the same amount of people actively participating, whether it's through distance learning. We have a great rapport with the people over there to help us reach out. So what are things as we are that you would do? Because obviously you got a email that prompted you to apply, but that one email just happened to spark your too to read. What are some things as the PR person that you and the team would do to try to make GSO better and noticeable?
I think for some reason this area, you have to be in front of, you have to be in front of them. You have to knock on their door and say this is this. For some reason, I think this area, people don't participate as much. So I think
I'm sorry, in this area, do you mean ODU specifically or
Virginia.
Virginia? Okay.
the Virginia area. In my undergrad, people would go out to events, socials, without even knowing what type of incentives they had. Here, I believe in Virginia, you have to have an incentive to get people out here, or you have to knock on their door to get them out here. You have to be consistent and a go-getter and get them to participate.
I think that sounds really great, but just being on the board for a while, I don't want you to set up for wrong expectations. And GSO is a graduate student organization. ODU is a community university. We don't really have doors to knock on. So I guess my question is, what do you think? It sounds really good. We tried it, that's the thing.
Being consistent, emails, flyers, doing research, finding out where these graduate students are, where do they go to study, where do they go to interact with the community, doing some research and see where these graduate students are and how we can get them to participate. What do they need? What do they need? What do they need from us to get them to participate?
As VP, what programs would you implement to make it worthwhile for students to participate?
Well, I believe, I haven't been to any of the GSO meetings, unfortunately. But I think, along with the PR position, just getting students to know about what GSO is, how we can help them. You know, we are the link between graduate students and university students. Like, how can we give them what they need, and at the same time, get what we need from them?
Do you have any connections with any of the administration that would be beneficial to you in your position?
Right now, in my program, in lifespan and digital communication, I have connections there and in housing business. Those are the two that we tend to know.
Do you have a GA?
Yes, yes, in housing and residence life.
Which house do you work in?
I'm off campus, so I typically work with urban mining communities, with elderly lands, and academic initiatives. So I do field trips, programming for students who live on campus, who live in halls with the same program.
Like, sorry, it's been a long time since I lived on campus, so like, a hall that's all science students, is that kind of, okay, good.
We have 8 urban mining communities, so science, health professions, business.
Any questions?
Hi, my name is Stephanie Walters. This is my first semester as a graduate student in the history department, pursuing a master's of arts in history. My ultimate goal is to be a college professor teaching history. So I'm running for the vice president position, and I think that I'd be a good asset to this organization because I feel like I'd be a new, fresh, positive force coming in and just helping out with what we're looking for. We want to be the link between graduate students and the university, and as a graduate student, we have so many things going on. You have school, you have assistantships, you have work, some people have children, and it's like we have to come together to figure out how we can promote this professionalism that we're looking to do. Because as a graduate student, it's really about connections. And it's working in the history department, I work with Dr. Finley Crosswhite and Dr. Brett Weber. I recently went on a study abroad with them. And just by doing that, it showed me how much opportunity is out there, how much as a graduate student you need those opportunities to move forward. And like everyone else said, like I got this through an email which prompted me to read it, but everyone doesn't read emails. So as a graduate student organization, as us as executive board, we have to be a force. We have to come out and show everyone that graduate students can be social too. We can do more things in the community and in the school. I believe I use the 3 C's, which I call it, and as a vice president, you need to be clear about what you want, what you expect from your team members. You need to have confidence in your role as a leader, and you need to have care and concern for the people of your organization, because just because you're at the top doesn't mean that the people below you don't matter. We need to be able to show everyone that we care and we're concerned about graduate students, because a lot of times you get overlooked. You're older, you're not 19 and 20 years old, so people think that you just know automatically what it is you need to do and what's expected of you, and sometimes some graduate students need help. As a first semester graduate student, it was definitely like a shock factor coming in, but I think I handled it pretty well, and I think that I can help others who are in the same position move forward and be a great student, not just academic-wise, but social-wise, and trying to fit into not what graduate student is meant. Like people think, oh, you just come to school and you live off campus and you just do your homework and that's it. No, you need to be more active, I think, in your school's community, because that makes a difference. Thank you.
Open the floor for questions.
What specific ideas do you have to advance the organization's goals of professional and academic development?
I noticed that there was a CV workshop that they had, I think, last spring or something, but I was thinking of like a professional development, like having someone like a professor come in and speak to like the organization about what it is that they look for, because, or even just other jobs or other people, career-wise, because sometimes just submitting a resume is not all. They look at how what you look like and how you present yourself versus just what they see on a piece of paper. The paper gets their attention, but you have to hold it. So I think if we have more professional development organizations for graduate students, that'll help promote, move forward in your career. In past employment, I was the lead instructor for one of my jobs in Fantastic Fitness. But as far as not in school, but I don't think that means I can't do it. I think that just makes me work harder to achieve my goals and the goals of the organization, because I have to, being someone who's fresh, you have to come out hard, you have to come full force, because people, if they don't know much about you, they don't know what to expect. So when you show them, what you have, what you have to offer, then, it shows them that you can do it.
And what do you think will be the greatest challenge of the vice president?
I think it will be just, well, for me personally, I think I'll just be learning the ropes. I think as a vice president, you're underneath the president, so of course you're going to look up to the president to help you move forward and to, know what's expected of you. But sometimes it's kind of like, as a leadership position, you have to sometimes tell people, what it is you expect from them, what you want them to do, without making them feel as if you're belittling them. So it's just, I feel like I have to build a rapport with the executive board, because it's like, we don't know each other, so we come in and we just have to get to know each other and feel each other out and figure out how, as a group, we're going to move forward, because this is a team, and the vice president is a central part of that team. So I think just filling in that role
sometimes you may have to take on the responsibilities for someone else because maybe they have another commitment with their job or with something else that comes up, they maybe need to take a hiatus for a minute. How would you handle that type of situation and taking on extra roles?
I'm very, when this comes to like group projects, I'm the one who takes the lead, I take charge, so to me, that would be an issue. I'm very, so I very focus a lot of time on time management, because I believe as a graduate student, you have to manage your time wisely to get everything done. And I mean, I work full time, but besides that, I don't have any commitments besides school. So it's just, I feel like I would have extra time to do it versus, the summertime too in the fall. But it's really about commitment, and I believe that I can commit because, like I said, time management is key. So if I figure out, set aside time for this and that, figure out what to do with it, I think it'll be successful.
Did I hear you say you work full-time?
Yeah, well, Monday through Friday.
And what do you do? Sorry, I don't know if you
I work with
mentioned
autistic
it.
children.
Okay.
Rising Up for Autism. I live in Newport News, so I am a commuter, but I'm classes nights, so I'm here all the time. During the week.
One of the big things with DP is actually executing the plans of the president. So whether it's planning professional development or a social or whatever is on our agenda to do, having connections and networks. Dr. Lewis is our advisor. Missy is her great assistant. Connections with them are vital to getting things connected and knowing different people in great places around this university that you wouldn't know unless you meet them. Do you have any of those connections, or would you bring them because it's really important to get stuff?
Recently, I just spoke for the president of the university because I'm doing study abroad. We had a reception, and we spoke in front of him about our experiences. I just studied French Holocaust with Dr. Finley Crosswhite, and so I think he'll be open to hear me out. He congratulated us and gave us a standing ovation, so I'm sure he liked our presentation. But I think as a graduate student, and just as a student in general, you have to be like, you have to not say force it or be in their face, but you have to be consistent. And if you're consistently asking them or showing them that you're interested in what they have to offer, I think it'll be easier for them to do more for you.
So do you have flexibility in your job to work on GSO stuff during the daytime?
What would be your time?
Like during the day? You're not gonna meet with the president at 4 o'clock. unless he's
Right.
into
But I
something.
do have, the thing is, I have a lot of time, but I can take off from work. Cause I work for the school system, so I'm not like a teacher, but I have time where I can take off, so I will be flexible. And next semester, I applied for a graduate assistant position, so if I get that, I won't be working anymore, so.
Did you apply for like TA or GP position?
A DA.
Any other questions? All right. Last but not least, Daniel for president.
Good afternoon. Sorry. Good afternoon. My name is Dan Sanford, and I'm looking to become the next GSO president. I'm currently pursuing a degree in public administration, and I am currently an assistant hall director for the University Village, which houses over 900 students. I went to undergrad here, so during the previous ODU tenure, I actually got to have the honor of being student body president. So I'm very passionate about this campus and its students. During that time, I was able to connect and advocate for all students here at Old Dominion. And one thing it taught me was that as much as I like to speak, I need to really be a real listener. One of the things that I have a lofty goal for GSO. I think it's primed for growth. And I know with PR, we've really got to work together. So we'll definitely be on top of that. I talked to both of you about, budget. I think budget autonomy for us is something that we really need to look for. I've worked with both LSI and Cs before. Being student body president, I got to really have a mentor in Donna Stansberry, and because of housing and residence life assistantship, Dr. Neufeld. Nicole Kiger is somebody that I talk to on a daily basis, just because we've had that connection previously. My goal is to actually go out and facilitate into the graduate community additional organizations based on their masters. so that we can build GSO from ground up, having representatives from every master's program. One of the things is I understand that my goals are lofty for this organization. With an executive team like this, I think it will be great to work with them. And even if we're just laying the groundwork, I believe that it'll be primed for the future. Thank you.
Open floor for questions.
When did you start your public admin program, your first year?
I am. Started in August. Masters.
And when did you be SGA president?
2009, 2010. First year football came through.
I just missed you were graduating late.
What do you see different about GSO and SGA?
Well, SGA is very undergraduate run. It's all undergraduate run basically, except for Louise. It has been undergraduate run, and all the money is seen through undergraduate eyes. Really, I looked into it, $35,000 goes to all graduate student organizations on campus, and their budget is $950,000. Being 1/5 of campus, our budget should be closer to $100,000 if that's what we were looking at. But it's not, because I think we're so fractured on this campus that it's causing us to miss out on those opportunities to at least get a budget of even $50,000. But SGA is just undergraduates trying to think that they know what's best for all organizations, and not really understanding the necessity of graduate students needing to go to conferences for professional development, certifications, and workshops, certifications, excuse me, I won't say that. Items like that. And GSO, I think, I've always had a conversation with Don about this on turning GSO into assembly, because even back when I was student body president, that was his vision, is to have a graduate student assembly on campus, because, once again, because of SGA being undergraduate through and through.
Do you think that you could try to network with the current SGA and maybe change that? Is that on your agenda, or definitely not?
It is actually, the president was supposed to be my employee for next fall, so I know him.
Do you have leverage?
Well, yes. I actually, it's funny because they've actually all come back to me because they've run into issues dealing with something I put in place. It's the financial bylaws, which is given out to every student organization. And I've had to walk them through step by step the thoughts behind it. Specifically one, which was recently in Mason Crown and kind of got out into the entire internet, was a 50% cut of your budget if you don't use it by the halfway point. One of the things with that was because if you don't use 50% of your budget and you don't explain why you haven't, then we just think that you're hoarding the money, and that was what the SGA thought. I had to walk them through step by step the thought process behind it and why it's still a valid rule. Because if it stays, it stays. If it goes, it's up to them. But it's the least I can do with them.
I'm sorry. Could you explain to me a little bit the difference between an assembly and organization? I guess I'm not clear on what the difference is.
I feel like an organization it's very, we just go out and we just, I'm trying to get my mind around what I'm trying to say. Excuse me for a second. We go out and we just recruit. I feel like with an assembly, we're going to go and pinpoint the academic advisors for each master's program. From there, maybe they can select a student to sit within that assembly, to have a representative body with each of those master's programs, rather than just a kind of free-for-all membership, kind of pinpoint our membership directly through the graduate advisors.
So is what you're describing kind of trying to take GSO from just being a student organization to kind of reflect SGA, but at the graduate level?
Correct.
What part did you participate in GSO?
I have not, because I wanted to make sure that when I did attempt a leadership position, that my work and academic life I knew exactly what I was getting into. At this point, I had not, but advocacy is one of my biggest passions in the world. Throughout my entire undergraduate career, it's all I love doing. Through politics at SGA and even my fraternity. It's one of those things where I felt like GSO represents a wide swath of students, and having a connection with the upper administration, I felt like that's where I could do the most good.
What do you see as the biggest challenge for GSO?
Retention and recruitment. I feel like that is going to take a big vision to accomplish, and it's going to take a lot of the time to actually get that into the idea of graduate students that there is money on campus for us. We have to come together for it, and I feel like that's what's going to take most of my time.
So, what specific ideas you have to advance the other goals of the organization? You talked about kind of having it become more of a modeled after SGA, which is a great goal that we've been talking about, but you're also talking about like getting more money, which is also another great
Yes.
goal. But what will you do with that money?
Well, I think first and foremost is to bring in panels for certain interests that aren't really facilitated by other organizations here on campus. I know for like Young Alumni, I was president of Young Alumni as well when it first started. We always talked about kind of that transition from undergrad to grad. I think that transition from grad further on, because a lot of students are coming from their undergrad to masters, but then we also have that other swath that's professional, and I think, as basic as it sounds, it's dress for success type programming, CV, resume, the difference between them, and I think for all of us, like cover letters. I know I still struggle with cover letters, and it's one of those things where, even our professional staff in housing struggles with cover letters at times. I think it's not to go too far from the workshops that have been in place, because they are the post-graduation life reality.
So the majority of you guys are master's students. How are you bridging in? Because a lot of your focus is master's, when the majority of our current population is PhD. And there is a big difference within those populations of students, unless you are dealing with the more non-traditional students. So what are your visions for those PhD students as well?
And quite honestly, to see what their needs are. I'm being a master's student, I don't know their needs specifically. So one of the things is I've always learned that I can't go full force unless I know the needs that need to be advocated for. I think having a discussion with, just the graduate advisors to understand the need of a PhD student would do substantial good for me, because I don't know. And I'm not afraid to say I don't know. But I think also, unfortunately, I don't think in housing we have any PhD students, so I couldn't go up and ask them first. But just getting to know them, their needs, like, is it child daycare? I know that was a big issue a few years ago. Items like that, because again, I'm unsure of their needs.
And then the other question is for everyone about sustainability. What are your things that you think you could put in place for the sustainability of the organization as a whole? Like currently we have a blocking system that helps transmit information from previous years, but as we can see, we're not a large organization. Having a great executive board that's either going to be able to stay or maintain the attrition rate of master students. Y'all are here for like 2 years and then you're gone. So what can you ask an organization to build sustainability?
I'll say. I noticed too, I looked at your guys' Facebook page, and what was the thing in the age we live in? The social network is a big thing, and Facebook is something that lasts forever. Like, I was on Facebook in 2005 and it's still there. So I figured we, from a social aspect, building my Facebook page, because I noticed I had like a few pictures and a few things, but it wasn't really like, it could make me better. So getting through people through that, because no matter if you're a PhD student or if you're a master's student, most likely people, they still go to Facebook, because that's how you connect to family, it's how you connect to even a lot of jobs opportunities like that. So I figured we push through social networking, and we'll, you know, that'll stay in the organization for a while anyway, because people know more about it. That how you get the name out there, how you people know, because like I said, people don't really know about graduate school position. I didn't know about it. I didn't know about it through email, and it prompted me to look more into it. Facebook will prompt people to look more into it. It'll keep us alive. It'll keep the graduate student organization, you know, something that people talk about on campus, because, like, oh, they're still Facebook, they post this, they're doing this, they're doing that. It'll be something that's more 2014.
For me, what I'd like to do is to be able to set up organizational systems and protocols that are easy to replicate. So something that if, say, my program finished up really early, or for some reason I wasn't able to try and run again the following school year, whoever was to step in and take my place would be able to do so easily. They wouldn't necessarily need me there to hold their hand to figure out how to handle the roles of secretary.
I would say more creating a environment of an association. So like you came back to participate, something like that where GSO members can come back and give back to GSO.
Going along kind of what Michelle said, having some type of like online directory of previous and current members, just going along with networking and kind of tapping into previous resources. So say if Yasmin goes off to be the president at a higher education institution, being able to go in that director and say, oh, hey, you know, I see that Yasmin is the president here, you know, I'm actually interested in applying for a job, and reach out to her because we have this GSO connection. And being that we're in the age of technology, I think online would be better than
I think they've said it all. I mean, maintaining connections with the alumni, retention is building upon what we have here and moving forward, going green as much as possible, I think is what we all simultaneously agreed on. But it's, you know, it's making sure that together we're pushing every objective forward to making sure that it's something that we're attracting other people to it. You know, if that means us taking the time to go and talk with the incoming classes in the master's programs, I think we'd be up for it. You know, I think growing it from there, building upon those first years, pulling them in early to then grow our base so that we don't have to run into a kind of constitutional conundrum of, well, none of you guys are eligible, so, sorry. But just, you know, growing from there.
Yeah, I'd like to follow up a little bit on the sustainability issue. Because it is significant that to have an organization grow and to continue, that there's institutional history, that there's things put in place. Again, how do we not be here where all of you indicate you've not heard about GSO or participated, but want leadership? And while we understand partly why, it does each year become an issue to move the organization forward. So how specifically would you ensure that that doesn't happen this time next year?
I think one of the greatest resources on campus are our graduate assistants. They have to be on campus certain times to pull them in early. I understand that, you know, some of them, for mine at least, a lot of them are higher ed, pulling them in. You know, we have military connection graduate assistants that are in MPA. We have, you know, biomedical students that are in HRL. To pull them in early, to get them in here as soon as we can, I think would help. To be honest, unless we're really just yanking them in, I'm not sure exactly how it will happen until we get to that point of pulling them in and seeing who's actually interested and who actually understands like what we're trying to do. Because I can have lofty dreams and goals, but until I'm physically on the ground pulling them in and trying to understand why they won't want to be it or won't want to be here or don't want to go. We can curtail everything we want to meet the specific population or the broad population, but if I don't have feedback on, well, this didn't work because of the time or this didn't work because of the place, then I can't really talk about like retention or recruitment.
Was that for everyone?
That was for everyone.
Oh, okay. For me, I think that it's important to kind of show our presence in the beginning. So going to these orientations that the different departments are having, and just showing that, okay, we are GSO, and these are the opportunities that we can present to you. I think also maybe having some type of lunch series, maybe once or twice a month, being that students, especially GAs, are going to be here during the daytime, and just using the time that they are on campus more effectively. I know a lot of them have families, PhD and master students, so they're not able to come to campus for some of those evening events. So really making use of their time while they're on campus. But most important, I think hitting them hard when they first get here during that orientation week, and maybe having events leading up into that.
I'm really glad you mentioned that because that's how I heard. I'm a student, I just came in this spring and that's how I heard about GSO, and then I looked for the first meeting and I was here and I was actually a little disheartened because I wished that there were more students from different departments, different master's programs, different PhD students, because our programs tend to be really monolithic. Like a lot of the students are very similar to me, and I would love to network with people outside of my department, and so I really wish the next board a lot of luck in getting some more diversity in here. It's really important.
I would say, I mean, all of our, in each one of our programs, there's a program director. We always hear about our graduate assistantships that we have available. Maybe going to those program directors and letting them know this is GSO, and they can have a great opportunity to get a part of it.
We talked about that in our first meeting this spring about doing that, but we had the big conference this year. That's another thing. I'm sorry, I hate to sidetrack. When this question is wrapped up, do you guys know about the graduate conference that we did this spring? Because I hope that we still network with the National Graduate Organization. I would hate to see that not continue.
That's something we're gonna talk about.
Okay.
So the thing that, last.
Look at their
question-
faces, they're like, what?
I was almost finished. If you're not given the position that you want, how active are you gonna be in GSO? Because now you can't say you don't know about us. You know we have stuff that needs to be worked on. And we've had this happen again, the same conundrum. Lots of people come in and they want that leadership position, but they leave. How committed are you to our organization? Because you know we're all graduate students. We need the organization as a whole needs help regardless of if it's an assembly, an association, or whatever. There's money for us. We need to come together. What are you gonna do for us, even if you're not appointed to the position you want?
For me personally, I think my character is, even if I'm not given the position, I still feel as a student, it's my responsibility to take advantage of the resources on campus. So even if I'm not appointed to my position, just as my ethics as an individual, it will be important for me to know. Because like you said, I can't sit here and say I didn't know. And I think, just like I said, my personal ethics, it would be just unbecoming for me to not still participate even if I'm not given that position. Because sometimes it's not always about leadership.
I mean, for me, position or no, I think this organization still provides a lot of benefits to me. So I definitely still want to be involved as a member, even if I couldn't be more involved in directing where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I think no matter what, I've invested time and I want to invest time. You know, president or not, it's time for me to step back in. I want to get involved again. Undergraduate career showed that I wanted to get involved, and I took the time off, and I'm itching to get back involved. Like, no matter what, president, it's time for me to step back.
I agree with what they were saying, as this organization will benefit all of us as well, whether we're in leadership or not, because as a graduate student, we need the opportunity that this organization affords just as well as anyone else, any other graduate student. these things are important to us because we want to move forward in our careers as well. So regardless if we're in a leadership position or not, this is beneficial. So I think I will be active. And I actually emailed Yasmin and I was like, well, even though I'm not eligible, I was still going to be an active member of this organization. I even signed up to be a member because I didn't know at first. I was like, oh, well, I think I signed up. She's like, yeah, you signed up. I was like, oh, okay. Because I still want to be a part of it.
I was gonna say, basically what everyone has said, it's a great resource. I mean, we're all graduate students, whether masters or PhDs, so we all should stick together, because we all have a lot in common.
I just have a question out of curiosity. One of the things that we do in the Office of Graduate Studies, you guys have alluded to it, we do a new graduate student orientation twice a year, and the GSO helps us with that. Students are invited to that through a direct email and through university announcements. Did you all get that email when you first became graduate students to come to new graduate student orientation? Because that really would have been the actual first opportunity for students to hear about GSO. So I'm just curious as if our email connection that way was effective. You guys remember? I don't think that.
I was a late admitted, so I'm maybe not okay.
I want to say I got one, but I think we were trying to do some staff bonding with our AHDs. So I think we kind of were like, hey, we're going to bond first.
There is some confusion out there, I know, and that this might be something to work on. Departments also, programs have their own orientation. Students think, and are sometimes told by the departments that they don't need to go to both. But I think you went to both, and there is different information.
It absolutely is.
It's very different. So that might be another mechanism when you're trying to educate people, you know.
I thought that the attendance to the school orientation, the master's program orientation was mandatory. It should be.
That's
If
a
it's not,
requirement.
it should be mandatory. I mean, there was so much good information that I got from that. That I benefited from. So I was just curious.
All right, well, we thank you guys for coming and sharing with us about why you're interested in being on the executive board. We will be meeting as an executive board and with our advisor and the C as well to make our final decisions, and we will be in touch hopefully within the next week. Okay, well, we will be in touch.
But we do have an event this weekend, so we hope that you guys will be interested in coming. I know it's
Aw.
just a weekend, but I know, it's just so late.
It is.
But we thank you guys very, very much. We look forward to you guys doing our first meeting. Thank you. Thank you guys for that.
Let's see if we got an hour.
I don't know, I gotta go to a meeting.